Hello viewers, myself Dr. Preeti Jagwani. I am from Department of Computer Science, Aryabhatta College, University of Delhi. I welcome you all for CEC lectures. Our today's topic is shortest path algorithm, which is basically a greedy technique. So today what will be the agenda? How are we going to proceed in the lecture? After considering good amount of background, I'll give you the introduction of the problem, then what are the available variants and algorithms, then focus for the lecture will be Dijkstra algorithm, and then we will see how this Dijkstra algorithm qualified to be a greedy algorithm, as well as its similarities with Prim's algorithm, followed by a detailed procedure. So let us begin with the lecture. Assuming I have given you a scenario of which is very common, I can say, of finding a particular route from one place to another. Let's say for in Google Maps, we are going from a destination, a source A to a destination B. So when we translate this problem into in terms of in computers domain, what actually it is. So this is basically a path of problem of finding a path between two vertices, and we can translate it into a graph problem, which converts into finding a path between two nodes of a graph such that sum of weights of its constituent edges is minimized. Now, why I am focusing upon the weight of the edges being minimized? Because we are looking for shortest path problem. Let's say we talk about Google Maps. So most of the time, what does this Google Map do? It actually give you the shortest path from a particular point A to another point B, unless constraints by the traffic. Its first choice will be the shortest path. So here comes the today's problem, which is shortest path problem, finding a path between two vertices or between two nodes in a graph such that sum of the weights of its constituent edges is minimized. And the most commonly used application, as I have told you, is Google Maps, but that is not the only application. We have many other applications which we will be covering soon. So this is the shortest path problem, but the shortest path problem under the domain of computers or in the domain of, we can say, graph theory, is available in many variations. So variations are like, first variation says single source shortest path problem. Single source shortest path problem, that means shortest path from a source vertex V to all other vertices in a graph. Let's say we have 10 vertices in a graph, and we have chosen one as the source vertex from where we need to start. So shortest single source shortest path says shortest path from that particular source vertex V to all other 9 vertices. That is one variant. Another one is single destination shortest path problem. Single destination shortest path problem is in which shortest path from all the vertices in a directed graph to a single destination vertex V. Here we have a single destination vertex, and we are going to calculate the shortest path for that particular vertex from all the vertices, and the graph given is a directed graph. This single destination shortest path problem can be reduced to single source shortest path problem by reversing the arcs if the graph is directed. So when we say a single destination shortest path, this can be easily converted into single source shortest path problem. So that is the another variant of shortest path problems which is available. Then the third variant, we have all pairs shortest path problem. All pair shortest path problem says it needs to find shortest path between every pair of vertices V and V dash or U and V in the graph. So there are, let's say, n pair of vertices. So in between those n pair of vertices, it is going to find the shortest path. So this is what you called shortest all pair shortest path problem. So basically your shortest path problem is so general and so commonly used that it is available in more than one variant. So basically 3 variants, which are single source shortest path problem, single destination shortest path problem, and all pair shortest path problem. And all these variants have their own individual common applications. Considering the general application of shortest path problem, as we have seen a vehicle routing problem in which we are looking for a path from a particular point A to another point B, and obviously we are looking for shortest path problem. Then we have survivable network design problem. That means a network is constrained to be designed within some rules and constraints. So in that situation also we need to have some shortest path problem to see whether those constraints given will be satisfied or no. Then in a peer-to-peer network, a shortest path from machine A to machine B for routing of packets or for transferring the data is also required. Then social networks are one common usage area in which we use shortest path problem, that is finding the shortest path between two persons, where this is going to solve the purpose of degree of separation. So what is the degree of separation? That will be given by the shortest path, where the nodes of the graph will be the profile of the person, or will be the person which are in between whom we need to find out the degree of separation. Then we have many network communications, as I have told you, that for transferring data or for routing the packets along the networks. Then road networks, different applications of road networks are there. So looking at the huge application scenario, yes, we can say that that this is a very common problem and a classic problem of finding a shortest path between two nodes in a given graph. Now we have in books or along the domain of computer science, we have many algorithms available which are there to find the shortest path. So among those list we have Dijkstra algorithm, then we have Bellman-Ford algorithm, A star search algorithm is also there. We have Flyed-Warshall algorithm, Johnson's algorithm, and Viterbi algorithm. So all these are the algorithms which are available for shortest path problems in different scenarios. Now in different scenario means I'll be covering this in a moment. Different scenario here is sometimes we have negative edge weights also, so that scenario is different from a normal one. So for different scenarios we have different available algorithms, but here we have to notice one thing, that shortest path will be there in a graph along with some conditions of its existence. Some conditions of existence means let's say we have a graph in which we are having an edge with a negative weight. Now the first question comes up in our mind, that why do we have these negative weights? What is the significance of this negative weight? Now for example, let's say that particular edge, there is a graph in which the edge is showing the profit in going for a particular transaction, and let's say it is about the transaction of money conversion. So we are converting from one currency into another currency. So from A to B we are converting, and if we are experiences or if we are incurring with a loss, then definitely the weight of that particular edge will be negative, because here we are assuming that a edge weight is going to give you the profit of the transaction, and if transaction is not profitable, if it is giving you losses, then the weight will be represented as negative weight. So we have many examples in which negative weight edges are the real possibilities. So negative, if there are negative edge weights, and then negative edge weights are going to produce a chain. After executing that particular chain, if the output is negative, then no shortest path exists. So that means this thing clears 2 points. One is there may be negative edge weights. Negative edge weight is fine, we can consider that, but there should not be negative edge weight cycle. Negative edge weight, individual negative edge weight would go, but that should not end up in a cycle giving you the negative weight edge. So if some path from source to destination contains a negative cost cycle, then there does not exist any shortest path. Moreover, today's topic, which is Dijkstra's algorithm, it will not work for the graphs even with negative weight edges. So for graphs with the negative weight edges, we need to go with Bellman-Ford algorithm. Bellman-Ford algorithm can be used for negative weight edges, not the Dijkstra algorithm. Dijkstra algorithm will work only with the weights of positive type, only with the positive weight edges. So coming to the formal definition of the shortest path. So formal definition of shortest path we will be coining like this. Let's say we have a weighted and directed graph. Here in case of Dijkstra's algorithm, we can have it as an undirected graph also. So weighted directed graph, as the standard representation says, that it is a graph with these set of vertices as V and set of edges as E, with weight function W, which is going to map each and every edge to a real number. So W is from E to real number, that means it is mapping edges to a real number, which is actually the weight of that particular edge. Now weight of a path. Now before going into weight of a path, let's understand what actually path is. So if I am talking about, let's say, a vertex X is adjacent to the vertex Y, that means there is a direct edge from vertex X to vertex Y. But if I am talking about that there is a path between X and Y, so the path may have X, X0, X1 up to Xn and then finally Y. So in case of path, the two vertices need not to be adjacent, but if we are talking about edge, the weights are adjacent. If we are talking about path, this can be a path having multiple edges. So coming to weight of the path, let's say we have a path P which extends from V0, V1 to Vk. The weight of the path will be sum of the weights of its constituent edges, and this can be mathematically represented as the summation of all weights starting from Vi minus 1 to Vi, where I ranges from 1 to k. So for all vertices starting from V0 to Vk, the sum of weights of the constituent edges is the total weight of the path. Now if we are looking for shortest path weight from U to V, then we are talking about shortest path weight, we need to look for minimum. So, and this is in a standard term it is represented by delta UV. So delta UV will be minimum of the path, minimum of the all paths between U and V, if there is a path from U to V. Now understand the situation. If there is no path from U to V, that means the vertex V is not reachable when we start from vertex U, then in that case that shortest path will be denoted by infinity. So if there is a path from U to V, or if there are multiple paths from U to V, we will be looking for the minimum path weight, and that is represented by minimum of Wp, where P is the path from U to V. Otherwise the shortest path weight will be denoted by infinity if there is no path between u and v. Now let us consider the figure which is given on the screen. The distance from u to v will be denoted as delta uv is the length of minimum length path if there is a path from u to v and is infinite otherwise. So let us consider a figure here which is having 5 vertices, and if we can see length of the path in going from A to E is from A to E we can reach in multiple ways. If we go through D, we can reach AD and then DE. The path length is 5 plus 4 is 9. If we are going to reach through vertex C, we will be traversing from A to C and then from C to E, and the total path length will be 8 plus 3, that is 11. So there 9, this is 11, and another path which leads us to E is through B. So from A to B, then from B to C, and then from C to E. So that is going to be 2 plus 1 plus 3, which is 6. So the distance from A to E is 6, and that is the shortest path distance, that is the minimum path length, because in going through D we will be encountering a length of 9, while going through C we are encountering a length of 11, but while going through B and C we are encountering a length of 6. So that is there, the shortest path length between A to E is 6, and the path is from A to B, then B to C, and then C to E. That will be the whole scenario. Now in this type of situation, coming to our today's topic, which is actually Dijkstra's algorithm to find shortest path. So Dijkstra's algorithm is basically, we can say, a variant of breadth first search. Let us understand this thing first. Breadth first search, if we can see, it is going to find a shortest path in an unweighted graph, or even we can say that a weighted graph for which all the edge weights are same. For example, we have n edges and all the n wedges are having the weight x, then we can easily use breadth first search to find the shortest path in that unweighted graph or a similar weighted graph, we can say. So for non-similar weighted edges we have the variant, variant of breadth first search, which is Dijkstra's algorithm, and this basically deals in single source shortest path problem for directed weighted graph, and non-negative edges should be there. That means Dijkstra's algorithm is not applicable to the edges with negative weight. So that means what compulsion or what constraints we are putting here is that weight of u comma v must be greater than equals to 0 for each edge uv belonging to the set of set E of the edges. So it must have positive edges, it should not have negative edges, then only we can apply Dijkstra's algorithm. So Dijkstra's algorithm is used to find shortest path between a source node to every other node, and obviously we can limit our search, or obviously we can limit our algorithm to the single source single destination shortest path also by tweaking our algorithm a bit, or we can say by controlling our algorithm using a particular variable, we can limit it to single source single destination shortest path. But the basic version or the general version of Dijkstra algorithm is there, which is for shortest path between a source node to every other node. Now let's say what is the operating procedure of this particular Dijkstra's algorithm. This operates on the principle of relaxation. Now what is this relaxation? I am just explaining. This relaxation is about approximation to the correct distance initially, which is an overestimate. So initially we are going to put an overestimated distance, which is the weight on every edge, and then we will keep on relaxing the edge, technically we can say, or we will keep on updating the correct distance gradually. So basically gradually that overestimate will be replaced by a more accurate value until the shortest distance is reached. So at every step, that approximation, that upper bound value we can say, will be replaced by minimum of its old value with the length of newly found path. We will say, let us say we have a newly found path and we have an old value, then we will see which one is minimum, and that minimum value will be kept on for that particular weight to be for that particular edge to be its weight. Now, why Dijkstra's algorithm is known as a greedy algorithm? Dijkstra's algorithm qualifies as a greedy algorithm because of existence of its optimal substructure property. Here optimal substructure property says shortest path between two vertices contain other shortest paths within it. So this kind of optimal substructure is required for greedy algorithm as well as for dynamic programming problems also, and that optimal substructure is available within our shortest path problem. So this problem qualifies to be a greedy algorithm, as well as what are we doing? We are actually choosing, we are picking the closest vertex that has not yet been processed. So closest vertex, that means we are looking for, again we are looking for the minimum weight, and then for that closest vertex we will be performing relaxation in all the outgoing edges of that vertex, and for this thing we are going to use priority queue, because we need to look for the minimum edge weight, and minimum edge weight can be easily we can easily find minimum edge weight by using extract min procedure of priority queue. So the data structure here, the moment we say we are looking for the closest vertex, or the moment we say we are looking for we can say the minimum weight edge. So basically it is kind of a priority queue data structure in which we are going to use extract min. And also this is having some similarities with Prim's algorithm also. So in Prim's algorithms we divide it into we divide the vertices set into two, and we look for minimum spanning tree. Here we are looking for shortest path tree with the given source as the root, and there are two sets. One set which contain vertices which are already included in the shortest path tree. Other set includes vertices which are not yet included, and then we keep on picking the minimum weight vertex from there using priority queue and extract min, and after relaxation we keep on adding that particular vertex in the shortest path tree. So these are the similarities of your Prim's algorithm and Dijkstra algorithm. And then if we can see our initialize procedure. So initially we need to see that in case of single source shortest path, we have many vertices in the vertex set G, and for all those vertices we will be saying that upper limit which we were talking about in the relaxation step, that upper bound will be set as infinity. All the parents of these vertices will be set nil, but these conditions will not be will not hold for your source vertex. For source vertex we will fill that d of s as 0. So d of s is that upper limit on the in the process of relaxation, and but pi of v, which is the parent vertex of every vertex v, is we are going to set that as nil for all the vertices. So initially we can say we have two sets. One is one is having S and another one having all the vertices except that source vertex V minus S. So basically we have divided vertices into two partitions. One is having S, another one is having all the vertices V minus S. So as you can see that in this lecture we have seen what actually shortest path problem is, how this shortest path problem, what are the applications of these shortest path problem, and using what algorithms this can be solved, and what are the variants of that shortest path problem, and focusing on the Dijkstra algorithm, how it qualifies to be a greedy algorithm, and what are the similarities of this Dijkstra algorithm with Prim's algorithm. So this was the summary of the lecture. Thank you for a patient hearing. Hope you have enjoyed the lecture.